Coming up on Mountain News this morning, state officials are discussing an increase to school safety budgets. And it's been 45 years since one Southern president created the Department of Education.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Madison Carmouche. We're coming up on 5 o'clock this Thursday morning. Today is October 17th. Let's send it over to meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it is so hard to believe that we're already at October 17th.
I can't believe either. Over halfway through the month of October.
So slightly to those high temperatures in the 50s and 60s. 59 for Hazard, 62 for Manchester. And taking a look at those next 12 hours, we'll slowly be seeing that sun starting to come up around that 10 a.m. hour, but it'll be a nice day with a sunrise at 7:44 a.m. Madison.
All right, can't wait to get a full look at that weather. Thank you, Megan. Lawmakers are trying to address school safety and the increased cost to fund it. The director for Kentucky's Center for School Safety testified about the spending. It follows some recent high-profile threats. Incidents in Montgomery County schools caused the district to close schools and ban backpacks for a time. In the weeks since, the law enforcement director says they have had time to address their safety initiatives.
I couldn't speak to motive or intent, but what I can tell you is that it happened. And that because it happened, it's a really important time for us to take again, shift maybe from some of the other priorities that we have as a school district.
Lawmakers say next year school safety funding will increase by $18 million. Educators have differing opinions on an amendment potentially allowing the General Assembly to fund educational institutions outside of public schools. Perry County educator Tiffany Combs says she is not in favor of Amendment 2 because it could lead to funding cuts for public schools. Combs says they could do more for kids if the funding stays the same.
You know, we provide them with so many different services. They come to us not just for an education, but we meet all the needs of all students. You know, we don't turn students away.
The funding could benefit private and non-public schools like Redbird Christian School. Redbird administrators say they have seen a financial decline since the COVID-19 pandemic. The Kentucky class of 2024 tested among the best in the nation on the ACT college admissions exam. Of the 9 states that test 100% of graduating seniors, Kentucky ranked 3rd behind only Wyoming and Tennessee. Kentucky students' strongest subject was reading with an average score of 19.2 out of 36. Their weakest subject was a tie between English and math, both with an average score of 18. The average composite score in the state was 18.6. About 51,000 students took the ACT. Today marks 45 years since President Jimmy Carter signed legislation creating the Department of Education. The department began operating a few months later after the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare was split into the Department of Education and the Department of Health and Human Services. The Department of Education has less than 5,000 employees, making it the smallest staff of the cabinet agencies. No students were injured when a school bus was involved in a crash yesterday morning. On a social media post from Rockcastle County Schools, they say the crash happened on the Sand Springs route in Mount Vernon. The district says everyone on board is safe and all students were picked up by another bus. Kentucky is set to fast-track the completion of the last section of the Mountain Parkway expansion project. Governor Beshear announced the infrastructure project is moving forward with the help of a $116.3 million federal grant. The funds will be used to complete the last 13 miles of construction connecting Salyersville to Prestonsburg. The expansion project aims to create a 4-lane highway that stretches across the state. Here is a statement from Governor Beshear about the funding. He says, quote, "We're grateful for these federal dollars, which will help move us closer to the finish line on this promising and much needed project." Officials with the Transportation Cabinet announced the Breathitt County Fiscal Court was awarded more than $18,700 in County Road Emergency Road Aid funds. The funding will be used to repair a slide on Cockrell Fork Road. That slide is located near the intersection of Cockrell Fork Road and Spruce Pine Fork Road. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we return, folks continue to debate about whether gender is a protected disability from discrimination, and a new lawsuit wants to clear the air.
And the cold weather continues. I'll tell you how cold in just a couple of minutes.